think if I just had the perfect routine, then the mess would go away. Or if I got rid of the majority of my things, then there wouldn't be a mess to clean. In reality, it turns out that I struggle with both of those tasks, as do many of us. So in today's video, I'll talk about why it's such a struggle and how I do not lose my mind while cleaning up this mess. So today we're starting with the clothes, which I have lots of clothes and laundry to do. Then I'll move on to the toys, then next the kitchen and the dishes, and then finish in the living room. But before I get started, I wanted to introduce you to the new generation of the all-in-one D-Bot from Ecovacs. So thank you to Ecovacs for sponsoring today's video. Rye is now 11 months old, crawling all over the floor, so it's more important now to keep our floors clean than ever before. The latest T20 Omni is like never before, making it easy and efficient to keep your home clean when you are busy with your day-to-day activities. These are the mop pads after a quick run, but the all-in-one station has a self-hot water mop washing feature, which helps dissolve stains and effectively removes odors with high temperatures. The station is easy to maintain because you don't have to waste time constantly disassembling and washing. The D-Bot will also automatically clean the dustpan after each use and can hold 75 days worth of dust. Here are the mop pads after a self-clean. You can also enable the Edge deep cleaning for a more efficient clean around the corners and edges of your home. By downloading the app from the QR code, it enables you to use True Mapping 2.0 feature that provides precise navigation and quick mapping in 6 minutes. It also has an enhanced 3D map to accurately map out your real home environment. With the intelligent AI voice assistant, you can get cleaning done by calling out, "Okay, Eco." "Okay, Eco.
I'm here.
Begin cleaning."
Okay, start cleaning the whole house.
The function includes auto clean, designated room clean, auto clean and auto empty, settings, real-time status, and get usage help. The ultra suction power of 6,000 PA helps enhance the cleanliness of the floors. The auto lift mopping is a newly upgraded feature that automatically lifts the mopping pad to vacuum carpets and rugs in a single clean, so you can vacuum and mop at the same time. This is one of my favorite features of the T20 Omni. The Osmo Turbo 2.0 rotating mop system scrubs away stains even after 72 hours. I poured chocolate milk on the floor to show you how it effectively cleans because this is a real-life scenario that we have with small kids. When we turn on the vacuum, we don't always go and clean up the floor, so chances are there are shoes and toys on the ground. The True Detect 3D 3.0 makes D-Bot help strategically avoid obstacles, so we don't have any doubts for it getting stuck on anything when turning it on. So it's as easy as just filling up the clean water tank, letting it get to action as to mopping and vacuuming up your floors, and then emptying out the dirty water tank. And look how much dirt it pulled up. But be sure to check out the link in my description to keep your home effectively clean. Don't pass up this unique offer and get the T20 Omni now. But let's go ahead and get started. And in today's video, I'm going to clean by category. So basically, first I'm going to start with the clothes. So regardless of what room the clothes are in, I'm going to do a sweep, put all the clean clothes away, get all the dirty clothes piled up, do all the sheets, and finish with the clothes before moving on to the toys. And then once I do the toys, I'll move on to the next category. Now, I have a question for everyone. If you are feeling overwhelmed, what do you normally start with? Do you clean by category, like when it's a pretty big mess, or do you clean by area, like you start in one room and then you go to the next room? So leave me a comment down below and let me know.
Watch me breaking, I swear. You're falling into me, touch me, I swear. You would do anything that I want, so keep us awake till the dawn.
So whenever I clean and I'm feeling overwhelmed, I usually do not do it by category like I'm doing now. I do it based on room, and then I'll just go from room to room. Now, usually everything probably stays within that area, but when you have a bunch of kids running around, then clothes and toys get misplaced from room to room drastically, I feel like. As moms with young kids, and maybe you guys have this problem too, is that when you go from room to room, like you're putting away clothes or a toy, then you're like, oh my gosh, this room is so messy. Now I'm going to focus on this room without finishing the first task that you had. So that is definitely my problem. So that's why I'm going to stay focused and just work on the clothes first before I jump from room to room. So in a recent video I posted, and this is a real comment I received, they said, you should clean more often because your house is messy all the time. And I'm laughing about it because I'm like, you are correct. My house is messy all the time. And I feel like you just don't understand that 100% unless you're like living and walking through that person's shoes, because not everyone has the same job, the same amount of kids, the same ages, the same, if there's disabilities or if there's more people in the house, if there's less people in the house. So it's so hard to just compare like your reality to someone else's reality. But I'm definitely not offended by the comment. That's not where I'm going with it. Where I'm going with this story is that in the beginning, as I used to be really, really obsessed with the way things looked, the way things were cleaned, how clean it was. I mean, you cannot tell now that I was that way. But at one time in my life where it was just me, then it was very much that way. Now, fast forward when I had 3 kids within 5 years. And then at one point we did have 2 dogs within that time period. The mess started to get way out of control, and it really, really would make me upset, trigger me, make me feel mostly angry all the time is how I kind of would picture it, is that I couldn't do anything fun because this was always not done, or there was always something that needed to be done. And if I didn't clean it up, then I would think, or I guess inside I would feel like I'm a lazy person. I don't feel that way anymore, but I'll get to that later. But one of the things that I tried to implement was having a perfect routine, because routines are very popular and routines help with structure so that you're not feeling overwhelmed when you get to a task and you need to do it. So I would try to stick to a routine. And then I found that if I was I do have a routine, but it's a very general routine and it's a very flexible routine. When I stuck to a too strict of a routine, there's always something that would go wrong. And I promise you, I'm a pretty positive person nowadays. I wasn't always that way. But there would always be something that would go wrong. It would throw off the routine and it would throw off my day. So I tried to be very lenient on routines, even with the kids and even with the cleaning schedule, because if I was so exhausted, but within my routine, I had to do the laundry, then it just made me in a bad mood. So what I had to do was get off of routines. Or I'll say a super structured routine where, it needs to be done. This needs to be done every Saturday and this needs to be done every Friday or whatever, unless it's swim lessons or something that has to be done on a certain day. But as far as cleaning, I became a lot more flexible with cleaning and more so just go when it needs to be done, then that's when I need to do it. I feel like I don't have this extravagant morning routine besides just chug coffee when I wake up and let's pray I make it through the day. But no, I'm just kidding. But I have structure and things that I need to get done throughout the day, but I don't always have to do it at a specific time. With that, I feel like a lot of people need the routine to take off a mental load, whereas I need to not have a routine to take off the mental load. Because then I would just go hard on myself for not doing it all that day. So that's why I encourage priorities, making sure that you get your top priorities done. And cleaning isn't always on the top of my priority list. I've got to pick up the kids, make sure that we have quality time with them, make sure that all of their needs are met, and make sure that, I can pay the bills and do all those things. And then there are days where cleaning is the main priority. So that's kind of the approach that I take for cleaning routines.
Give me something new. I want it back through and through. Just do it. I'll let you rule. I know you like to break the rules, and my cry is being too good for you. I'm too good to you. I'm too good to you. My cry is being too good for you. I'm too good to you. I'm too good to you.
So the next strategy that I've tried, or shall I say I am trying, and these were, suggestions from you guys from like over several videos, is to declutter more, because the less you have, then the less you have to maintain. Now, I've mentioned this several times. I'm not a minimalist. I don't strive to be a minimalist, but I do want to be more, maybe just have less things that I don't need. Now, in comparing my home to other people's houses that I go into, I don't feel like I have like an excessive amount of stuff. I know some people on here will disagree, but that's okay. I didn't always used to have this much stuff either. And decluttering, in my opinion, is harder than cleaning because there is a thought process that you have to go through. Whereas cleaning, you're just kind of like, you just pick it up, right? And then when decluttering, you have to figure out, you have to pick it up, you have to figure out what it is, how you're going to use it, where you're going to use it, if you're going to use it, who you're going to give it to, if it's going to go in the trash. And then there's this whole like mind-boggling process that you have to go through. Now, I know some of y'all are like, it's so easy, just throw it out, it's fine. But for me, I go through that mind-boggling process. And with decluttering, I feel like if you struggle to declutter, as do I do, then there's probably a deeper rooted issue with it than just getting rid of stuff. And I was recently watching the show Hoarders, and some people may think like these people just, they live in, some of it is pretty bad, but there's always something that has happened that is connecting them to the stuff. So when I go through some of my stuff, I have to decide what is the deeper issue that is connecting me to the stuff. So I can get rid of things, but I think the feeling I feel initially is guilt. And here's a couple examples. Somebody spent their hard-earned money on me and bought me or someone in our family this thing. And whether it's true or not, the feeling of guilt comes when I get rid of it, almost like I don't appreciate it or wasn't thankful. Whether or not that's true or not, which most of the time it's not, it's just a weird feeling. Next is I spent my own money on something and I didn't use it enough. So then I feel guilty for buying it or spending my money on it and then not using it, or it may be worth a lot of money, so it's hard to just let it go. Next, there's a guilty feeling of not giving it to the right person or the right place, or giving it to someone who really, really needs it. Next, there's this feeling of guilt for not saving something that was sentimental or belonged to someone else at the time, and now it's time to let it go. So how do I get rid of this feeling of guilt when decluttering? Well, one thing I do is I switch my mindset from scarcity to abundance. And I learned this method a while ago, more so on like creating a business, but I've applied it to my decluttering method. So the mentality of having a scarcity mindset is that if I give something away, I'm never going to get it back, or there's never going to be another one like it, or there's not enough in this world for me. And as humans, we're kind of programmed to think this way. Like we are wasteful if we leave the lights on or leave the water running or use electricity or don't hang on to everything. That guilt comes, so we have to rethink the way that we think about it. And I kind of have to switch that to an abundant mindset. And I did this with my clothes and it helped a lot. Whereas if there's something you really need, you find a way. And it's true, like just think about a scenario in your life right now where you didn't have the money or you didn't have the time or you didn't have the resources to get something you really needed, but you somehow figured out a way to make it work. And that ultimately is an abundant mindset. It's not, how much money you have or how much whatever. It's that if I can get rid of this, I know if I ever needed it, I will figure out a way to get it. Now, if it's something you want and don't need, you will still figure out a way. Once all of your needs are met and there's things that you want, new clothes, a new pair of shoes, a new whatever, you will find a way. And then if there's things that I want because they just make me feel good, then I am hanging on to them. But I feel like when you're trying to declutter, you also have to not feel guilty for keeping things. I think I would find myself in a lose-lose situation, which is why I would dread it a lot, is because I would feel guilty for letting things go, and then I would feel guilty for wanting to keep something. But the truth is, you're not alone if you feel that way, and you have to just make it a process. This is why it's a constant routine that I'm doing. Every once in a while when I get a chance, I'll go through it again and again. It's not like I did it and I'm done. It's more like a muscle that you have to keep working on. As you keep working that muscle, the decluttering muscle, I wouldn't say you get better at decluttering. I would say you get better at the decision-making process. You get more comfortable at where to take things, what to do with things, who to give things to, and what to keep.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way.
I remember this mess and this day, and I remember feeling really frustrated while I was cleaning this up because I hadn't done a better job keeping up with the organization of this playroom. Not that I wanted it to be organized perfectly, but that I didn't have a better system, or I hadn't implemented a better system for managing the toys. I remember people saying that they feel so thankful, or their kids feel so thankful for them for not having all of these toys out like this, and more so having toys put away in bins and doing better at toy rotation. And I keep saying I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do another mass clean. I'm going to organize all the stuff that we have and do a better toy rotation and just take out toys that they need to play with one at a time. And I just remember feeling so frustrated that I have not made the time to do that. I've tried creating centers and station, decluttering a little bit of toy rotation, getting the kids to clean up their mess and organize it. And I feel like I've tried and failed. But I always have a silver lining. You know the purpose of these videos. So I think that you just have to try a bunch of different things to figure out what doesn't work. And Thomas Edison said it best. He said, "I've not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And that's just life, right? You may not know the exact way to do it, but you know how not to do it. And the beauty of life is figuring it out, and that's why you're here today.
We have met before. It's the same as always, waiting at the airport with your coat and gloves. Same time every winter, smiling like you knew me. And now all my emotions are searching for you in places we've never been. Now I'm starting to realize the chance I've been given, but I am so afraid. Oh, if I am a lucky man, I will see you again next year. If my wishes do come true, I will see you again next year. And my hopes stay down there. Let it won't be too late. Oh, if I am a lucky man, I will see you again next year. Time is standing still when you lift your
So in the beginning of this video, I said that I used to be like very uptight about cleaning, and if the house wasn't clean or if things weren't put away, then it would almost ruin my day. Like that was always my number one priority, and it had to be done before I did absolutely anything else. Well, after having 3 kids within a 5-year period, pile up more and more than I could get to it. So I thought that having the perfect routine was going to help me out. Turns out that wasn't necessarily the case. I thought that decluttering everything was going to be the perfect quick fix. Turns out that's a lot harder than it seems. So I read this quote that really, really, really hit me hard. And it's a quote by Maya Angelou. And she said, "If you don't like something, then change it. If you can't change it, then change your attitude." So nowadays, we're always trying to find the quick fix, the solution, the diet pill, the easy way out. And the truth is, there's really just not a super easy way out without having to make a change. So at that point, I kind of feel like I had 2 choices. I could keep the house clean, but I would have to sacrifice basically my sanity. I would have to constantly keep it clean, constantly be worried about if it's clean. And trust me, it would be clean all the time, but I would just be cleaning all day, every day. And keep in mind, I don't love cleaning. The second thing I could do was change my attitude, knowing that it's okay if something doesn't get picked up at that exact moment and that the world wasn't going to end. Does it mean you might have to do it at a later time? Yeah, but that's okay too. So when I created this channel, I didn't know initially that I was going to base it around motivational messages, but I feel like that's the root cause of a lot of the issues of why it's hard to clean, or why you clean too much, or why you feel the way you feel about cleaning is because of the way that you think about it. So it's funny because cleaning motivation or cleaning videos are to encourage you to get all of this stuff done. And then I'm over here saying, do what you can when you can. And guess what? You'll be okay. But overall, the way that I manage the mess in my house without overly stressing out about it or feeling overwhelmed is incorporating a little bit of each of those things. So I do have somewhat of a routine that is very flexible and that I don't get hard on myself when it doesn't get done. Then I take steps to declutter. It's not an overnight transformation, but it's a step-by-step process. And then if there's things or situations that I can't change or I have no control over, then I have to change the way that I think about it. Because at the end of the day, that's the only real thing that we can control, which is our thoughts.
My own, but I'm never alone.
So Savannah is my middle daughter, if you're new here, and her birthday is on July 11th, which I don't know if this video is getting posted on July 11th or a couple of days later. I'm not sure yet. But I had the biggest fiasco trying to get her birthday present. So let me tell you this funny story. I wanted to get her a new princess bike that had almost like a carrier in the back for her baby dolls, and it's a Huffy bike, and they sell Huffy at Walmart. So I looked online and I saw the bike, and it was the one for 16-inch wheels, so bigger than the one she had now. And I was like, oh, great, it'll deliver the same day pretty much. So I went ahead and ordered it that day. It got delivered that night. And when it got delivered, I told Chris to hurry up, run to the front door, and put it straight in the attic so that she doesn't see it. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know this story already. But he was bringing it up. He's like, this bike is kind of small. And I was like, no, it's the bigger bike than the one she already has. And he looked at it. He says, this says 12-inch wheels. And I was like, no, I ordered this one with 16-inch wheels. So I went back and I'm like, did I order the wrong one? And I looked and I was like, dang it, man, they sent me the wrong one. I ordered the 16-inch wheels. So I put in a request to return and they were like, we'll come pick it up. FedEx will come pick it up. I was like, perfect. I don't have to go take it anywhere. So I scheduled the pickup for 2 days later. When FedEx came, he's like, I'm here to pick up. And I'm like, here's the bike. He's like, oh no, we can't take that bike unless you put it in a box. And I'm thinking, oh man, okay, it didn't come in a box. Now where am I going to get a box that fits a bike in it? Well, I'm not. So he's like, well, you can take it to UPS, buy a box for it, and then I can pick it up from the UPS store. I'm like, no. I said, you know what? I'm just going to take it back to the Walmart and return it and then go get the new one. So I looked online to see which Walmart had the 16-inch wheel bike. So I found one not close to our house, but not far from our house. So the next day, I take the bike over there, and so I get the bike out of my car. I'm walking to the store, and like there's people at the front kind of like waving, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, our store is closed. The power went out. I'm like, what are the chances that the power goes out at an entire Walmart and the whole Walmart is shut down? And I'm like, I specifically drove all the way to this Walmart to return this bike. So I'm just like, okay, positive vibes, right? I'm like, okay, I'm not busy or anything. I'll come back tomorrow. So anyway, I come back the next day or the day after, I don't know. So I go in, thankfully the Walmart's open, and I'm waiting in line at customer service, and I'm like, okay, here's the bike. You guys sent me the wrong bike, so I need to return it and then buy the new bike. And they're like, well, this return form, like this bike is not on a product that you bought. I'm like, well, I know because y'all brought me the wrong product. That's why it's not, like, I don't know. They were having issues returning it. And then they're like, well, you need to call the 1-800 Walmart number because it's not letting us return it because you're returning a different product from what you bought. And you already had a return scheduled. So I'm like sitting there for an hour. I'm on the phone with Walmart. They canceled the return, so then she was able to refund me for the bike. So I'm like, finally. So then I go to the back of the store to pick up the bike, and it's out of stock. So now I'm just so determined. I've invested all of this time already trying to find this bike. I'm like, can I buy this bike somewhere else? And they only had it at Walmart. So I was really debating on what to do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to this other Walmart the next day and see if they had it. And lo and behold, they had the bike. So I'm excited to give her her bike on her birthday. I'll share it on my Instagram. Hopefully she's happy and she loves it. But the moral of the story is, if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to get it.
Want to keep it nice and clean, not freak out and cause a scene. I try to hold it together, keep it together. Not sure who I really am, just be cute and super bland. I try to hold it together, keep it together. Been playing it down, but I'm so getting tired. Now won't you meet halfway?
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that it puts you in a positive mood today, even if you're feeling frustrated. If you're not subscribed already, I would love for you to subscribe. And I will see you all next week.